Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing the HunterXHunter Iceberg. You all know the format, so let's just get right to the fun stuff. This has been covered before, but I said I'd do it with the Tokyo Ghoul video, so we're going to do it. And starting off, we have Oh Gone. The only way to start the video, this refers to the scene where Hisoka had a really good time while fighting Gon during the Heaven's Arena arc. Hiatus. Hunter x Hunter has been on many hiatuses since the start of the manga. While this is more of a meme in the community, it does make people quite sad. People are surprisingly understanding, since all of this is actually due to Togashi's health, specifically brutal chronic back issues, so bad that he even has to draw while flat on his back. The X is silent. The title of the manga is Hunter X Hunter, with the X actually being a symbol and isn't actually pronounced. This is actually a common motif in manga. Most recent example that I watched personally is actually Black Star from Soul Eater having the star symbol in his name. Bungee gum. This is probably the most popular meme from Hunter x Hunter. It's of the scene where Hisoka talks about his nin ability having both the property of rubber and gum.
Bungee gum contains the properties of both rubber and gum, you see.
And under any Hunter x Hunter YouTube video, TikTok, whatever, short form, you will see people referencing this meme. Getting into the first long one here, Volume 0. So this is a prequel one-shot that was given out with the 2013 Hunter x Hunter movie Phantom Rogue. I will be spoiling the plot of this, but you should read it yourself. It's super short. This shows a young Kurapika with the Kurta clan. We can see very interesting things about them. They're an isolated village that are completely convinced that the outside lands are terrible and filled with discrimination of their people. We see Kurapika is very curious and wants to go out and explore the world. He says that he's leaving the forest, and that's the greatest infraction that can be committed, but nobody really knows the punishment since it's never actually been broken. We meet Kurapika's friend, Pyro, make sure to remember this name later in the Iceberg, whose eyes and legs are weaker than everybody else's. Kurapika's interest built when him and Pyro met an outsider that had stumbled into the forest and actually gotten hurt. They saved them and spoke with them, leaving them with an adventure book from the stranger that talked about a hunter. It was like a storybook, but it spoke of the outside world and all these great legends. We get to see Kurapika's parents. We see that the reason Pyro is actually hurt is actually because he saves Kurapika's life at one point, which Kurapika mourns still, citing this as the actual reason that he wants to go outside so bad to find a cure for his friend. So that's chapter 1. There is one chapter left, and I encourage, again, go read it yourself before I spoil anything. Kurapika gets given the chance to do a test to see if he can get the right to go outside. Generally not allowed as a child to do it, but due to him just pushing it, they allow it. He goes out to do the test, and Kurapika actually loses his cool and exposes the crimson eyes after some of the testing people, the high council people, sent delinquents after them to try to get them to expose their eyes and fail the test. Kurapika's eyes get exposed, and we see firsthand the discrimination that the Kurta feared. The townfolk call him a red-eyed monster and an agent of the devil. Due to some trickery, Kurapika actually ends up passing the test anyways, and is able to go out into the world on his own as an adventurer. And obviously we all know that this would happen, but the end is still a gut punch. 6 weeks after Kurapika leaves, the Kurta clan is all slain, and he finds out about that later, obviously. It's a good read. It's really quick. It's just 2 chapters. You should definitely, it's really easy to find online. Please go read it. Baka Kiel Dogra cameo. I actually don't know how to pronounce this, but he's the main character of one of Togashi's other manga, Level E. During the Heaven's Arena arc, a mysterious commentator appears that most believe to be Prince Baka, although others think it may have actually just been an interpretation of Togashi himself due to some other weird inconsistencies, but others just assume it's a cameo, which probably it is. Togashi also made Yu Yu Hakusho. This is a very famous line you'll hear people say. They'll, when you bring up Hunter x Hunter, you're talking about Togashi, everybody will say, oh, he made Yu Yu Hakusho as well, and this is what this entry is referring to. It's just quoting a very, very common line that people say. 1999 anime versus 2011. There are a couple big changes in the 1999 anime versus the fully done 2011 anime. Firstly, there's an early anime only section of the Hunter test about ships. The coloring, lighting, and theming are different. People especially noticing this during the Yorknu arc. And this also, the 1999 version, also ends at the end of Greed Island. We don't get to see the last two arcs. Kite appeared in chapter 1. This is another line that in the manga, Kite actually appears in chapter 1. Manga readers will say that anime only fans didn't get to experience Kite, and it came across Kite quite randomly in the anime instead, compared to the manga where we saw him in chapter 1 right away. Togashi is married to the author of Sailor Moon. Togashi is married to, forgive my mispronunciation here, Naoko Takaichi. Who knows if that's correct, my apologies, who is the creator of Sailor Moon. They've been married for a long time now. You can see photos online. Main characters have similar birthdays. The main characters and Hisoka have birthdays that are all linked. Leorio, March 3rd, Kurapika, April 4th, Gon, May 5th, Hisoka, June 6th, and Killua, July 7th. Netero uses right leg and left hand. In the Hunter exam, Netero plays a game with Gon and Killua where he agrees to not use his right leg and left hand. These are the same limbs that he later loses in his fight with Mira. Gon's not a virgin. This is a theory about how Gon talks about women teaching him a lot of things on Whale Island. Obviously not what he meant, but Killua is a little bit more mature than him and took it that way. 1999, Killua was a perv. In the 1999 anime, Killua did quite a few pervy things. This is not actually the case in the manga and was just kind of a gag for that older anime style that was popular in the 90s. Nanika is Ai. The Ai are creatures from the Dark Continent that got their names from the sounds they make. This is the same sound that Nanika makes in this art. Their killing methods are the exact same as the way Nanika kills. And the full title of the Ai is Codependence of Desire. So this could obviously apply to someone like Nanika that grants wishes. The theory is that Nanika themselves is an Ai that actually took over a body. Gon's arm. Gon loses or hurts his arm in many arcs. It scales up, starting from him just hurting it, to him exploding his hand and wrist, all the way to it being fully cut off at the very end. Hisoka and Illumi are married. This is about people reading way too far into some wording from characters that was very clearly meant to be a joke from Illumi and Hisoka, talking about a prenup. There's even a quote that's commonly misattributed from Hisoka, and they talk about, oh, it's not like I'm talking about getting married to you or anything. That conversation isn't even happening with Illumi. That's happening with Kurapika, and people try to use it to push this weird, ship, essentially. It's not really like that. The reality is Illumi is just talking about a contract, not a literal prenup. This is not even present in all versions of the translations using that word prenup, so it's a debunked theory. Phaeton, first language. Phaeton speaks very bad Japanese or English if you watch the dub of the 1999 anime. This is because Phaeton seems to speak a different language originally, speaking backwards Japanese specifically at a few parts in the manga, and implies he might be from somewhere further away than most of the cast we actually know. Although this doesn't exactly make sense, as he was raised in Meteor City, so unless he was born and then quickly thrown in Meteor City, we're not really sure why. Tonpa means. Lots of people like to make jokes about Tonpa. He's one of the first large side characters, so obviously people liked him a lot and made memes that he's actually much stronger than he seems. Zig / Maha Zoldyck. There are 2/1 Zoldyck member or members that are mentioned very briefly in the manga. There's a lot of discussion on who Zig and Maha are or could be, or even if they're separate people at all. Of course, at this point, it's pretty clear that it is just Zig. The name Maha actually never appears in the manga and just appears in one of the data books. We see a young version and an older version, and that's where people get confused that it's two. What we're actually just seeing is Zig when he's younger, and then Zig when he's older. WDWUNE equals Togashi. Doon is one of the game masters and creators of Greed Island. We see him at the end of the arc, where he is introduced essentially as a NEET, but did you know this scene is actually based on a real image taken of Togashi sitting in a room filled with trash playing Dungeon Quest? Gyro will meet Gon. Gyro is the former king of the NGL where the Chimera Ant took place. He is consumed and turned into an ant, but he ignores the queen's orders and leaves, heading to Meteor City. In the manga, there's a line, Gyro left town and disappeared without encountering Gon. Whether this proved to be fortunate for either party will not be known until they ultimately meet. This implies that they will one day meet, but with how the current story is going, some believe this is probably not the case anymore. But everybody's excited to see if maybe they really will meet. 1998 OVA. This was the animated pilot made a year before the 1999 anime adaptation. It was animated by Pierrot instead of who made the 1999 anime, which was Nippon Animation. It was brought in the Jump Super Anime Tour and was later available for purchase on VHS through a mail-in offer from Weekly Jump. It's essentially the first 2 episodes of the anime, but with some actually interesting changes. Togashi's Twitter. So this jumbled mess that you see here is actually Togashi's Twitter, where he posted photos of the stuff he was working on. This was actually not known to be his actual account at first, before it was actually confirmed. I have no idea how he got such a strange name, or if it was just completely random somehow, but if you know some deeper meaning, please let me know. Live action musicals. There have been many live action musicals that have been performed for Hunter x Hunter, which are pretty easy to find clips of on the internet. They're fun little watch to see live actors playing some of our favorite characters. None of them are dubbed or even subbed for that matter, but they're still interesting. Pregnancy Stones. This is a Greed Island card that is needed to end the game, but if someone were to use the card, a 7-pound stone is summoned, and if it is held for a month, the user will get pregnant, regardless of the user's gender. You can even choose the baby's sex. So of course, the theory was immediately that this is how Jing had Gon. He may have found the real pregnancy stone. Remember that he is an archaeologist hunter and had Gon. A little side fun fact with this one. The manga version of the card actually depicted different images that got censored in later versions of the manga and the anime. Q-Roff Whirlicarilur. The data book and art by Togashi had some infamous ways of translating the characters' names in English in very strange ways. This name is supposed to be Crollo's name. 2011 Anime Character Songs. There are 4 song collections where the main voice actors sing songs. They're all pretty good and are very easy to find online. Sui Ishida, April Fools. If you watch my Tokyo Ghoul Iceberg video, you'll know this one, but I'll explain it again. In 2015, Ishida, the writer of Tokyo Ghoul, announced a spin-off prequel for Hisoka. This was fully written, it was a one-shot, and it's pretty interesting. Of course, the whole thing was revealed as a joke and ended with an interview between Ishida and Togashi.
Mobbage cards. Mobbage is a term to describe a mobile game. There's a game that sadly was taken down in 2023 where you would collect and battle with cards that you received. It seemed just kind of like your common gacha game, but it does have some cool art. Kurapika/Melody and the Valley of the Wind. In chapter 96, Togashi reveals that the characters of Kurapika and Melody were inspired by Omu for Kurapika, and Melody was inspired by Nasuka and Yupa, as well as Ashitaka from Princess Mononoke. I tell you, when I was trying to find the screenshot of the part where Togashi says this, it drove me nuts. I was sitting in call with a friend, you know, looking through scans because I don't have the physical copies of HunterXHunter. It drove me nuts. I still never found it on a scan site. I was able to find a screenshot through Google Images of somebody talking about it. Oh my god. Side ramble though. Opening predicts Netero's death. I'd actually never heard of this theory, so I decided to watch the 5th opening for myself, just to see what I could pull from it, and thinking about this theory the whole time. What I think this comes from is the short clip of Netero performing his 100 type move, and the screen flashes heart. Where at the end of the battle, obviously he pierces his heart and uses it to activate the nuke. Leorio, shower scene. In the 1999 anime on the airship, all the hunters are resting before the next test. Leorio and Kurapika are bunked together, and Leorio steps out of the shower naked, where Kurapika sees him naked and reacts. Some people jokingly say this because Leorio is packing absolute baggage. Togashi cameo. Togashi cameos himself a couple times in the anime and manga. While I mentioned the famous trash room picture, his iconic dog symbol also appears pretty frequently, in fact. Pitou gender. There is so much debate on what gender Pitou is. This is clearly because people find them hot. The reality is that it does not matter. Let's say for the Gooner's sake that Pitou looks female enough. But I'm gonna counter that argument and say that Poof and Yuppie are also female. So sit with that one, Gooners. Have fun. Phantom Troop will all die. So this could be referring to a couple things. In an old interview before the Phantom Troop movie, Togashi answers a question of what will end up happening to Kurapika and the Phantom Troop. He answers, they will all die. This is either a joke or just a, well, everyone dies eventually type of reference. There's also a big theory that in the current arc, there seems to be a lot of death flags for the troop, especially since this is another Kurapika arc. Big theories regarding Crollo's prophecy not actually being done yet, and actually refers to the current Black Whale ship itself. Super Mario, Jesus Christ, and Peter Ware Higgs. This entry just kind of in general refers to all the real world things that are mentioned, of which there are many, but I'll only mention a few here. We can see Jing reference playing Mario Crollo obviously references religion a lot, with his last name almost being Lucifer, but also directly referencing the betrayal of Jesus Christ. So at least that part of the Christian lore exists within the universe somewhere, although in what way, we're not completely sure. IRL cafes. There have been many pop-up and collaborative temporary cafes that did a HunterXHunter theme, decorating the cafe and having specific dishes and drinks related to the manga/anime. If you're a big fan and went to one of these, you would see all kinds of cool foods that kind of looked like for a character, and they would have all kinds of things you could buy. It seemed really cute. I'd love to be able to go to one of these, or honestly any anime-themed cafe. It seemed really interesting. Heineken beer. The beer that is drank by multiple characters throughout the anime is always Heineken, or a different off-brand version of it. This is most likely a Madhouse inclusion, as in the manga they're usually much more generic looking beers, just no label. Ending D. This was a proposed ending for HunterXHunter that Togashi prepared in case he passed away. This would be a time skip to Gon as an old man with his granddaughter, who actually decides to stay on the island and not become a hunter. Togashi has mentioned 3 other endings with this, vaguely talking about them. Ending A, a safe, conventional ending that he expects 80% of fans would approve of. Ending B, a more divisive ending with an even split of approval and disapproval. And ending C, a highly controversial ending that he expects 90% of fans would hate, though it's his personal favorite creatively. He hasn't obviously said what these endings are, as he thinks this is how it's going to end. Censored panels. There's a strange history of censorship in the manga, showing some extreme violence while censoring others. It's really weird. Adult Gon figurine. There's a very funny adult Gon figurine where his hair is so excessively tall that it's comedic. If you look these up, this is how they all are. They just have like 10% body and like 90% hair height. It's very Togashi the Kaya Kizaka 46 stan. This is an idol group. I don't know how to pronounce that. Togashi seems to be a huge fan of this idol group. This group is now called Sakurazaki 46. Maybe if any of you fans out there are aware of this group and not the other one. And he still seems to be a fan. Throughout the years, he's attended multiple concerts as well as sending large flower arrangements to the group. Downtown. This is a reference on how Togashi actually named the series. He's a big fan of collecting things, so he knew he wanted to name the next manga he made, including Hunter. And after watching the television show Downtown, hosts would often repeat phrases for comedy, which made him decide to repeat the title, leaving Hunter. Hisoka wanted to do Killua. In the manga, Hisoka asks Salumi if he's allowed to do Killua. This is paired with him doing a fig sign, which according to 70 Japanese jesters means sex, implying that Hisoka was asking if he could do Killua. Jean Louise Bradley. Jean Louise Bradley is a character from the HunterXHunter novels. They are a slightly different adaptation of the Hunter Exam and Zoldyck family arc in a novel form. This character specifically is from another assassination family and are essentially vampires due to a magic beast being in their family lineage somewhere, and you can see the character here. WonderSwan games. WonderSwan was a Japanese exclusive 16-bit handheld game console released in '99. There are 4 HunterXHunter games on this console, going from Port Town all the way to Greed Island. Gorinu memes. Apparently the Japanese version of the Tampa meme, they instead decided that Gorinu is their meme super strong character that could totally defeat Miura. 7-Eleven commercials. There was a 7-Eleven collaboration with HunterXHunter where they sold some exclusive merch, as well as made a short ad where we can see a father and son dressed up as Gon. I'll go ahead and play it here. HunterXHunter, the real 4D. Universal Studios Japan had a short-ran attraction for HunterXHunter. I won't talk about it too much, I'm just going to show you some clips here. Gon's mother, original design. This is from images on very early drafts of characters all the way back in 97. One depicts a girl next to Jing that may have been Gon's mother, although this isn't confirmed in any way. Could be a very early Aunt Mito design. In my opinion, it also kind of looks like Maki, which is weird and probably isn't supposed to be her. Fashion, magazine, art. Many years ago, we can see Togashi had either been inspired by, or let's just be frank, traced some art from magazines to put into his manga. The biggest one being a cover of Crollo. Some people seem mad about this, but at this point the discourse is so old, like 13 years ago old, and it's just on a subreddit kind of sitting there. Obviously nothing going to come of it, and I think people are pretty much past it at this point. Hisoka's foot massage. There is an audio that you can easily find online by just searching what I just said on YouTube from an old CD of essentially a fan fiction, but this was professionally produced of Hisoka giving the cast a foot massage. This is the actual 1999 cast doing this audio, and while it's funny, it's kind of cringe. Listen at your own risk, I'll tell you that. Killua, whistle, lost memories. So this is a side story by the same guy who wrote all the novels. It's a short alternate retelling of the episode 46 of the 99 anime. This story is in a full guidebook with all the common stuff, but just kind of a fun little side thing. It's actually a very sad telling, showing a lot more of the trauma and abuse that Killua suffered that in the anime and manga seems to kind of not affect him as much. In the novel, though, it shows how that affects his outlook on life, and it's really sad. It's really easy to find, though, and it's an extremely short read, so please go read it. Trevor Brown. Trevor Brown is a real-world artist who makes, frankly, disturbing art. Don't go and look at this dude's art unless you're into that really weird stuff. It's kind of like Lolita, children, gore, you know, that kind of nasty stuff. If you're into that, sure. No, it's not necessarily pornographic. That would be a whole nother issue. I probably wouldn't even talk about him. It's just it's shock. It's definitely like shock art. But altogether, why is it important on this iceberg? Well, in the manga and 1999 anime, we can actually see Phaeton is looking at a book with Trevor Brown on the cover. So I guess Phaeton is a big fan of that strange fetish art. Cat Emperor Time. This is a nin ability that Gorinu has from an infamous hentai parody of HunterXHunter. It regards Pitou, who tries to attack Gon, but is stopped by Gorinu when he uses his ability Cat Emperor Time that gives him complete control over felines. You can imagine what he does with this control, considering it is a hentai. Look up at your own risk. Wedding Punch and Togashi's Foreskin. Wedding Punch was a short manga that Naoko, Togashi's wife and Sailor Moon author, made about her and Togashi's relationship, mostly talking about the sexual side of things, and has a large focus on foreskin in one of the chapters, including the time she looked at it in the bath. While it's obviously kind of meant to be a joke and silly, it's actually kind of cute seeing her make this manga, essentially fawning over her husband, and it uses both of their characters, the dog and the bunny, I think she is. And I don't know, it's just really cute. It's a good read. Crollo's birthday. Crollo's birthday is actually unknown, but for whatever reason, the birthday of November 15th was chosen for him and seems to be generally accepted by the fan base. If you remember the list of birthdays from before, he would definitely not be that. They kind of stick with a theme, so if I had to guess for a birthday, it would be like August 8th, September 9th, because everybody else's birthday is the month followed by the same day, so I'm really not sure why November 15th was chosen. Kurapika's English Lesson. This is from another one of the drama CDs, like the Hisoka Foot Massage, where Kurapika drunkenly tries to teach Leorio English. It's pretty easy to find online. You should go listen to the whole thing. It's very silly. Leorio and Binol are from the same hometown. In specifically the 2011 anime, we can see that Binol's flashback to his upbringing, it looks like he came from the same town as Leorio. We can see very similar clothing, pretty much exact, and the buildings and local area look very similar. Sir Rydnich has Pyro's head. Remember I told you earlier to remember Pyro from Volume 0. In a manga of our friend Sir Rydnich, I don't know how to pronounce the dude's name, sitting in front of his body part collection, we can see a head in a jar surrounded by scarlet eyes. People have a theory that this could actually be Pyro's head, but it is almost definitely a head of a Kurta clan member since it's surrounded by the eyes. Togashi Aero Club. Togashi actually has a younger brother who is also a mangaka. This at one point led to some confusion, as they referenced themselves as just Togashi, which is pretty normal, which led some people to believe that the HunterXHunter creator made hentai. Togashi's younger brother makes hentai under the name Togashi, so people were a little confused a long time ago. I don't think he really works on much anymore, but yeah, he's his younger brother is a hentai artist. Tony to Tony, mass executions, and real life hangings. In a manga panel, there are a lot of photos that show real world tragedies. These allude to very real events, pictures taken and drawn, almost traced exactly from these, including hangings, beheadings, deforestation, flooding, a mugging, starving children. It's a whole thing. I mean, it's supposed to show again the brutality of the world, kind of like with Netero talking about how messed up humanity is. And it's a very sad panel. And for the end of the iceberg, one I find very interesting, Killua kills Gon as Mito watches. So this was an ending that writers of the 99 anime proposed, where Silva and Killua were gonna go to Whale Island and have to kill Gon and Jean. How they thought of this and how they thought this would ever happen, I have no idea. I'm sure there was a lot going on in that writing room that maybe wasn't legal. They were doing a lot of crack or something, because what the hell? But we do have it even got storyboarded a little bit, so we can see that here. But that's going to be the end of the iceberg. This one was short and sweet, right guys? Thank you everybody for watching. This one took me a lot longer to make than I expected, compared to Tokyo Ghoul, which I feel like wears everything on sleeve. I kind of knew everything about. This one actually had a lot more that I didn't know about. But I'd love to make some more iceberg content for you guys, in another month, because that's about how long since the last one has been. So if there's a specific media type, it could be over anything, but obviously anime, a book, whatever, I'm absolutely down. I'll do all the research and collect a bunch of interesting fun facts for you all. Thank you everybody for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Have a wonderful day.